the opportunity to talk with a couple of congressmen, and in particular a new organization. I don't know if you're familiar yet with the Campaign for Liberty, but I serve on the board of the National Campaign for Liberty, and we had a board meeting just last week. John Tate is our executive director for that organization, and his offices are in Washington. They've been doing, well, in Virginia actually, but they've been doing a lot of work on the Hill. And the thinking from there is the push for health care is going to be really tough in the 60 days after they go back in session. So anything you can do over the next 60 to 75 days to kill this bill is really, really critical. Every day that goes by that they don't get it out of committee and that they don't get a vote on the House floor, it's good for us. Because politically, next year's an election year. And every congressman in the United States, every House of Representative congressman in the United States is up for re-election. So nobody wants to face you in an election year, which means there's light at the end of this tunnel if we can just keep up the pressure. And I know we've kind of gone, what good does it do because they do this? And they did do this. You know, they did it in the bailouts when overwhelmingly the calls were saying, don't do this to our country. I think that you thought that that was a fever pitch and it couldn't get higher, and then we got health care and it got higher. We're going to get cap and trade that's going to kill Texas.
Right. Yep.
Right. People are asking me everywhere I go, where are you on sovereignty and secession? And I said, there's no question we've got state sovereignty fights on our hands. The question is, which one do you fight first?
Yeah.
You know, which one can we fight first, and where do we fight, and how do we fight that? I'm a registered nurse by profession, and one of the things that I'm looking at beyond this health care bill is a piece of federal legislation that was called EMTALA, E-M-T-A-L-A. EMTALA passed in 1986. One of those pieces of legislation that you see all the time, unintended consequences. EMTALA was supposed to prevent hospitals from dumping uninsured cases on other hospitals. What it in fact did was it created an environment that forces mandatory charity care. Hospitals, physicians, emergency providers cannot even ask whether or not you have a source of payment when you come in. It is the thing that causes all of us to say we're being forced to provide health care for illegal immigrants because hospitals can't even ask whether or not there's a source of payment. That's a state sovereignty fight we ought to have. The federal government has no business in health care. There's no constitutional authority for it. And we will take care of Texans ourselves in Austin and in our local community. So we want to launch on that fight. I don't want to take up a lot of time because I know there are others here. I saw this was happening in the Metroplex and wanted to come up and try to get around and see some of my fellow Texans today. I found this recently. You've seen the Don't Tread on Me a lot, but I don't know how many of us really remember the context of where that came from. Ben Franklin in 1775, and I think this is just a perfect picture of what's happening in America today. He is analogizing Americans to rattlesnakes, and he says, I recollected that her eye excelled in brightness that of any other animal, and that she has no eyelids. She may therefore be esteemed an emblem of vigilance. She never begins an attack, nor when once engaged ever surrenders. She is therefore an emblem of magnanimity and true courage. As if anxious to prevent all pretensions of quarreling with her, the weapons with which nature has furnished her she conceals in the roof of her mouth, so that to those who are unacquainted with her she appears to be a most defenseless animal. And even when those weapons are shown and extended for her defense, they appear weak and contemptible, but their wounds, however small, are decisive and fatal. Conscious of this, she never wounds till she has generously given notice, even to her enemy, and cautioned him against the danger of treading on her. I hope you will send that message to Congress. I hope you will send that message to our didn't give us property tax reform. You didn't give us education reform. We're warning you. Let's start that rattle. We're warning you. Shape up, or we're going to strike. And when we strike, we will not surrender. I appreciate all the work you're doing. Thank you.